So in this video, I thought we'd talk about the Kiai, one of the most misunderstood things in modern martial arts. Okay. So the word ki is strength. I means to coordinate or bring together. So to coordinate or bring together your strength. Often we see in modern karate tournaments, people yelling on literally every technique or every other technique. That would be like every time you get into a fight, you only throw a front kick. Okay. So it's a technique. It should be used wisely. It should be used when you think it'll be effective. That specifically is the sound aspect of the Kiai. So the sound aspect of the Kiai is only one aspect of the Kiai. All right. So in karate, and I'll use a few different examples from a few different martial arts I studied. In karate, we do add the sound. Normally in one of our kata, we do 2 tops 3 Kiai in a kata. Okay. Again, this is something that has to be developed. Most people just yell. That's not what it's for. So a Kiai is an expulsion of air. So we have the manner of drinking and spitting is either hard or soft. This has nothing to do with drinking and spitting and everything to do with breathing. So when we inhale, we don't want to gulp, right? I don't even like doing that. It makes me want to cough. When we exhale, we want to exhale sharply. So inhale softly, exhale hard, right? So if I'm throwing a punch and I'm doing a Kiai with no sound, right? And I'm punching with power, it's right? So it's just that sharp exhalation of air. When we do moves in a practical method, Chen style Tai Chi Chuan, again, the sound emanates because of the action of the body, right? It's an exhale. Okay? So I don't voluntarily make that sound. The issuing of the power issues that hard exhalation of air. So in karate, we like to add the sound. The sound should be primal. You need to develop it for yourself personally. One of the things that makes me laugh, if I visit a dojo and the person does a Kiai and they actually yell the word Kiai. Well, my personal favorite is when they yell the word kill. And I literally roll my eyes and I'm like, okay, obviously this person has no concept of what a real Kiai is. So, Kiai with the sound. So Kiai with the sound, right? I'm looking to project that sound. So what I did in my early days of training, when I did some sport sparring, all right, I don't do sport sparring in my dojo anymore, but back then when I did sport sparring, I would work on where I'd wait, and as soon as the person attacked me with a technique, I'd issue a Kiai. And when I issued that Kiai, I tried to make it a physical technique, like I'm hitting him dead center of his face or dead center of his chest with that sound. I'm trying to focus that sound like it's like a strike, okay? So I'm not going to do it crazy loud because I got the mic on. I don't want to blow anybody's ears out. But when I would do it, if I would do it with a punch or whatever, you know, I'd come here. It'd be, right? And if I wanted to do it louder, okay? So it becomes primal. It's that thing to frighten the person for a second, all right? And I was able on many occasions, as the person attacked, by issuing that Kiai at the right time, the timing's essential. He hesitated. When he hesitated, that's when I moved in and countered. Okay? So, I listened to Oscar Ratti, who's author of the Secrets of the Samurai and Aikido in a Dynamic Sphere, and my first Chinese martial arts instructor, which is Hoshino Minoru from Japan. I listened to them discuss the concept of Kiai. And they talked about how in ancient times this was developed. It was serious. People would work on it where they could direct it like in a tight beam at an opponent, the way I was just talking about. And then they said they would also develop it where the sound would expand. So maybe you're in a group setting, okay, and you want to shock everyone for a second, all right? That might be something you want to do, all right? And they discussed it. It was almost like listening to a scientific lecture about how these people were doing it. And, you know, Oscar Ratti mentioned that, you know, there's written things of where supposedly a samurai would sit in the field and work on his Kiai, and he would try to, a bird sitting in a branch, he would try to aim his Kiai and shock the bird so the bird would fall down. Okay. Again, if you do the Kiai on every single technique, no good. Now, your exhale will be on every technique you issue power on. But again, that doesn't have to have sound other than your air expelling. Okay. And the thing is, if you hold your breath, you'll be passing out by the end of a form. Okay. So that's one of the things you want to make sure you exhale. All right. So exhale on each technique when you're issuing true power. All right. So let's talk about some other Kiais. So in the Koru, you have Shindo Musuru Jodo, which is another art I studied for a very long time. They have two distinct sounds they use when they strike with the Jo. And when they're striking with the Jo, they'll use Ie. So it's Yet. When they thrust with the Jo, they use an O sound. Hop, hop. Okay. So when I asked why the importance of two different sounds with the Kiai, I was told that these particular sounds produce a reaction or produce a result in the body. So one of the things you want to understand is the internal organs vibrate at different frequencies. So if you're listening to this and you're saying, come on, Mike, please don't tell me this stuff, right? So the Om sound in yoga, right, where we go, Om, vibrates the heart. So if you don't believe me, experiment with it, try that Om sound, and you'll feel your heart vibrating in your chest. So it's not bad. It's actually a very healthy thing for your heart. So different sounds will make the liver vibrate, will make the lungs vibrate, will make the kidneys vibrate. Okay. I've experienced this in sound Kiko with a Japanese master. All right. Was in a room full of karate people, freaked a lot of them out. Okay. So Kotori Shinto-ryu also has two different sounding Kiais. So many of the Koru have distinct sounding Kiais because they're trying to produce a certain action with the body. All right. So as you can see, depending on the art you're studying, all right, the Kiai can vary. The sound can vary. All right. But what you want to realize is that sound is always creating something. The sound is creating a reaction in the enemy, or maybe the sound is creating an action in our body. Something the sound creates for our body, which is good for our body. Okay. I'll leave you with something. I spent a lot of time in my early years developing my Kiai. All right. So when people hear me Kiai, people will say, oh, it's got a little bit different quality to it. One of the highest compliments I was ever paid, I was in the Jodo dojo in Tokyo, and we'd finished training and we went out to eat, and one of the most senior sensei who was there said to me, Michael, today I closed my eyes and I was listening to people Kiai as you guys were practicing Jodo. And I said, oh, okay. He said, I could always tell when it was you. Your Kiai is unique. Your Kiai is more sophisticated. Your Kiai has a quality to it. And I was like, oh, thank you very much, Sensei. I really, really appreciate the compliment. So the problem is in modern times, a lot of modern people, they feel foolish, right? I mean, I got to basically twist people's arms here to get them the Kiai, especially the teenagers. Like they think it's embarrassing. Why am I doing this dopey yell? Again, the further we get removed from a more natural way of living, whether it be outdoors or whatever, we have a tendency to think some of these old ancient practices that we were taught are foolish. I'm telling you they're not. I think the Kiai is very good for your health. And I think if you develop it, it gives you another weapon in your arsenal. So think about your Kiai, work on developing it, okay? Again, in arts like Kotori and Shindo Musuru, but even there, my Kiai, I develop it. Everybody's saying the same sound, but I try to develop it so it's personal. I feel it with my body. And in karate, it's more of a primal thing. So you want to develop that primal sound, right? And you don't want to do it all the time, right? You do the actual Kiai when you think it's going to work, when you think it's going to startle that opponent, okay? Sometimes here in the dojo, and I'll leave you with this, I'll have someone in front of me, and I'll say, all right, come in with a punch. And as soon as the guy goes to throw the punch, I hit him with a massive Kiai, and I move right in. And virtually every single time I do that, because obviously I don't tell him I'm going to do it. I don't tell anybody in the room I'm going to do it. Every time I do that, as he comes in with the punch, he does that. Not only does he do that, but virtually every single person in the room jumps. They all jump. And they go, someone will go, Sensei, like basically, Sensei, you scared me, okay? So again, develop that Kiai, play around with it, experiment with it. It's a good thing to work on, and it's a skill we don't want to lose. We want to be able to bring the skill forward to future generations, all right? Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.